Let's name it from the start and then get into the controversial weeds and details. Is it sinful for boys to paint their nails? Well, you cannot draw a straight line from painting your nails to sin. That's off the table right here from the start. However, if we want to be thoughtful, it gets weird. It gets nuanced because on one side, and this is important, you have a God of order who wonderfully crafted a gender binary with male and female. And yet, on the other, there really is such a thing as what can be called socially constructed gender norms that differ. They really do between cultures and centuries. And then, as maybe the most difficult layer of the cake, you have little boys watching the world, the next generation's men. And they are so confused. And I personally, this is a personal thing. I have 3 of these boys. And as a pastor, I have 100 of these boys. And so how do Christians navigate these angles responsibly, even boldly, in a world that does not hold to the same values or convictions? What are some lines we can draw? What are some lines we are drawing but should not be drawing? And what's the solution? Well, on the one hand, and we'll start over here, that there really are what can be called socially constructed gender norms. So like here's a test. I'm going to give you 3 rapid fire questions. You respond with girls or boys. Are you ready? Who likes the color blue? You said boys. Actually, 100 years ago, that it's all written down. Girls liked the color blue and boys actually like pink, even here in the United States. Okay. Who enjoys tea parties? Answer: the samurai. About as manly as they get, right? They were famous for their tea parties and the love of flowers. All right, next, who should be wearing skirts? You knew I was going to go here, didn't you? Because you're going to say, well, is William Wallace a girl? What's the actual difference between skirts and kilts? You see what I mean? We are not to be cowards, but we aren't to be fools either. Because, like, look at King David from the Bible. Was he manly or effeminate? I bet you say manly. But isn't this the guy who wrote poems and wept his eyes dry before the Lord? He played a harp. He talked through his emotions. He said of his friend Jonathan, "Your love for me was more wonderful than even that of women." So do these things exclude King David from masculinity? Has our view of manliness shrunk to the point where it excludes David? But this is the same David who also chopped off the head of a giant. He manhandled a lion, literally, and he ran a kingdom. Okay, so there's the social gender norm side-ish. The other is a God who beautifully crafted 2 sexes, a binary, 2 genders, clear as day for all of history up until now. And although both flow from him, God has revealed himself as a male. He is not neutral. He is not female. He is not one for confusion, but for order. And this is getting tough in a culture that is working to blur or even delete that gender binary. I'm going to say it again. Our world is completely blurring the binary on purpose. And that's what this whole sexual revolution is about, which is pure rebellion and sin. Watch some videos in my playlist called sexuality and even spiritual warfare. I get into this. But for this video, and this is the rub, right? Like, how do we honestly reconcile who wears a skirt with Deuteronomy 22:5, which says that a woman shall not wear a man's garment, nor shall a man put on a woman's cloak? For whoever does these things is an abomination to the Lord your God. Both are true. Now let's work towards a solution, and it is a solution of 3 parts. The first has been named. You cannot draw a straight line from painting nails to sin. I know there are male musicians and NBA players that are painting their nails, and there are even normal peeps doing it. I have some friends that do it, but it's different for men to do it than a boy. There's one line right there. However, the second has to do with intentions. And this is where sin can enter in like a monster. Why are you painting your nails? If it's to break God's order, to fulfill curiosity, to make a statement, you're flirting with the devil, y'all. And I realize that's a bold statement, but we have to be honest about our hearts, which mislead us, which are deceiving. But third, and this is subjective, I get it, but are you proud of your manliness? And I mean that for all of us. All of us have to decide if we are proud of the way we are presenting and acting as men. Are you proud of your manliness? Instead of doing your neighbor's yard, you're selecting a polish for yourself and spending an hour grooming yourself. Like, can we all agree, or do we disagree? Comment below. If World War III popped up, nail polish sales for dudes would plummet. You know that, right? And I think that says a lot about the state of man today. Listen, if in 20 years, painting nails is like wearing kilts back in Scotland, fine, I guess. But in a world that's still blurry in terms of our socially constructed gender norms, even as it has to do with boys painting fingernails, Christian men, Christian boys must present plain and clear and call a spade a spade. There are real boys watching you, and they're going to marry your future daughters. I'm sure I have much to learn here. I'm all ears. What did you learn? Comment below. Let's converse. Let's talk. Hit subscribe. See ya.